Okay, all right, let's do it.
Which streaming service is music to your ears? We're comparing two of the biggest names to see which one comes out on top.
This is Apple Music versus Spotify.
If you're listening on mobile, both services work on Android and iOS.
Spotify has a free ad-supported tier, but for most albums and playlists, you'll have to listen on shuffle. You'll only get 6 skips per hour and no access to the radio stations. Apple Music only offers streaming for Beats One Radio for free, or you can listen to songs in your iTunes library.
Both cost $10 a month, $5 for students, or $15 for family plans in the US.
And if you're a paid subscriber, both let you save and listen to songs offline. Each streaming service has a big catalog, though Apple Music has 45 million songs versus Spotify's 35 million.
You don't always have to listen through the app. The Spotify web interface lets you stream from a browser, while Apple Music has a web widget. While it's not technically a full player, you can still stream from a browser from tools.applemusic.com.
You can stream audio from both services to a Bluetooth speaker. Spotify Connect lets you use the Spotify app to cast and control playback on compatible devices that are on the same Wi-Fi network. And you can also use your voice to control Spotify on the Amazon Echo or Google Home.
So let's start with smart speaker. If you're someone like me when I was doing a lot of testing with Apple Music who has a Chromecast enabled device, in my case it's an old speaker with Chromecast audio, try to cast to it from Apple Music, I'm out of luck.
But if you have a HomePod, then you probably will want Apple Music because you can control with Siri. And I think for a lot of people Siri is important because if you have an iPhone and you're in a car, for example, then being able to summon music hands-free is a pretty big deal in a car. The other advantage of Apple Music is an Apple Watch. If you do have an Apple Watch and you go for a run, it's great to be able to stream music directly from the watch and not have to take a phone.
Can I just say, Spotify had this amazing feature called running, and it used to actually detect the tempo at which you were running and then choose songs at a particular BPM that would match that. They got rid of it. I don't know why. It was such a cool feature. Apple Music, pick this feature up, use it, run with it. Why not?
Literally run with it.
Literally run with it. One of the big advantages with Apple Music is the integration with the iCloud music library, so you can store 100,000 of your own songs and have them accessible in the cloud to any device that's signed in with your Apple ID. So that's your PC, a Mac, or even the iPhone. Spotify streams in OGG Vorbis format if you're listening on the desktop or your phone, and you can choose the bitrate up to 320 kilobit per second. Apple Music streams as 256 kilobit per second AAC files. Both services try to expose you to new music you haven't heard of before based on music you already like.
And both ask you for some of your favorite genres and artists when you first open an account, and have playlists that update based on your listening habits.
Another way you can discover new music is through radio stations.
All right, Lexi, so I know that your music selection is a very big part of your identity. So which one of these two services is best able to match your personality or get it right?
So the clear winner really for me is Spotify. It just seems to get me on a level that's way deeper than Apple Music. So Spotify has Discover Weekly and it has Release Radar. I really like how the Discover Weekly playlist surfaces a lot of stuff that's very similar to what I already listen to, but it's just artists that I've never heard before, and I actually genuinely enjoy it. I mean, there's a few weeks when it's kind of totally off, but I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's really spot on, and I found a lot of great music from it.
You take me, for example, I don't necessarily build my whole identity on my music selection. I'm so sporadic about my music choices that I like being able to just search for my own stuff and just kind of have similar songs play after that. But neither one really gets it right for me because I'm all over the place. I have my classical music, and then I have my Disney music, and then I have my Broadway music, and then I want to listen to pop, and then I want to listen to jazz. And there's a lot of Spanish stuff too in there, and it's so sporadic that it really doesn't matter. Both are able to kind of surface what I want to hear, and neither one is really able to keep up with my crazy music selection.
Right,
Anyway.
and that's a really good point you bring up about non-English speaking music. So if you're listening to a lot of Latin music, I'm really intrigued, like which service do you think is better for kind of finding new stuff?
I think Apple Music has a great selection of the classics. I can usually find most of the songs that I want to listen to. If I want to listen to more obscure, up-and-coming stuff from south of the border, then I think Spotify is a little bit better at featuring these less-known artists.
As for radio, Apple Music has the option of also listening to Beats One Radio. Do you listen to Beats One at all?
No, I don't.
Why?
I'm not a radio person, I guess. I don't spend a lot of time in the car, and I feel like the only times when I did listen to radio was because it was available in the car.
I really want to love Beats One Radio, and it's all about finding that like radio personality that you really gel with, right? You want to find someone
You
that
so want to gel with him,
you want
Lexi.
to find someone that has the same taste as you, that's going to make you listen to music that is outside of your comfort zone as well. I haven't really found that with the Beats One DJs, but maybe I just haven't listened to it enough.
You can also follow your favorite artists in both apps to keep up to date with posts and their latest releases.
So these services have a lot of social sharing features. Do you use them at all?
So I don't necessarily share my own music selection because, as we've discussed, it's mostly embarrassing. So I'd rather not be judged by music connoisseurs like yourself. I kind of keep my own selections on private, but I do sometimes peek in to see what my friends in El Salvador are listening to, just because I know I'm probably not going to discover that music on my own. So it's kind of nice to see what they're checking out back home.
Apple Music is the obvious choice if you have a range of Apple devices, while Spotify is your best choice across a range of platforms and if you don't want to pay for music.
And they're not the only players in the music game. Amazon Music, Tidal, and YouTube Music are just some of the other names out there.
All right, moment of truth. What would you pick, Spotify or Apple Music?
This one's pretty clear-cut for me. It is Spotify. It just gets me. Like, it understands what music I like, it gives me good playlists, and surfaces songs that I probably wouldn't find otherwise. But what about you?
I think I would go with the free version of Spotify. I mean, Apple Music doesn't offer a free version, but if I really had to pay, maybe I would pay for Apple Music because of the ability to stream on the Apple Watch Series 3 and use it on a run without having to take my phone, and the ability to be able to summon Siri as well. But we asked you guys the same question on Twitter and Instagram stories, and actually most of you preferred Spotify.
But maybe that's not the case for you. Maybe it's totally the reverse. Let us know in the comments below. And of course, let us know what you would like us to compare next.
Up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of your world. Hey!